Hi guys, my name is Alana Arenas and I'm going to do a monologue for you from a play that I was in by the name of Eclipsed. It was about these women in Liberia who were caught in the struggle of the Liberian Civil War. The women were all living in a house and they were basically slaves for lack of a better term, because they were being kept by commanders in the war against their will to they had to sleep with them, and they also performed services for them. They cooked for them, they cleaned for them, and they would have more than one of these wives. And in the play, I played one of the wives, and I was the first wife, so I was given the name number 1. We would name the wives that the CO would capture and bring to the house by the order that they were brought to the house. So we had number 2, number 3, number 4. And there was sort of a chain of a command, a respect, based on your number. So I was number 1, okay? Helena, H-E-L-E-N-A, Helena. That my name. I'm not sure about my last name. I think it Sowa, Sona, or something. I think it's Sowa. I need to remember all these things now. Where I from? Buchanan? What I go do now? What I go do now? He called me over. He say, sit down. All the years I be with him, he never have me sit down. Maybe sit on him, but never he sit me down to talk to me like human to human. Then he say, the war over. Charles Taylor go to Nigeria. You can go. Pack your things and go. We going home. Then he gets up and walk away. That it. All those years. He took all those years. He make me leave my child when we running from Charles Taylor men. He make my child die in the bush all alone. He make it so I no get born no more. He make me so sick, my stomach broke, and then he just got throw me away like that. I cook every meal he eat. I know all the secret of his unit, everything, but he just got spit me out like that. I scared, oh. He say, you can go. I can just go wherever I want. They want it over. Do I have ma? Do I have pa? I don't know. You can go. I don't know what go means. What it means? I think I gonna go to Monrovia, sell things, get a business. But I want to go to school. I want to learn to do something, to read. Like you. Number 4, you can be member of parliament now. Did you hear me? We can all go. My peace. I can go now. Let's go. You free. Number 4. You don't have to fight no more. Don't do no bad things no more. That's not you, girl. That's not how God make you. He make you good girl. Thank you. Thank you all so very much. Thank you. So today I'm gonna talk. I'm going to talk with you a little bit about New World and my life after New World. So I will tell you that coming to New World was like it was a life-changing experience, hands down. I would say the first most life-altering experience I can remember in my life. And I didn't come to New World my 9th grade year. I started my sophomore year. I was going to a local school, and since I have had this experience, I have been in a lot of debates about education and the importance of the arts. And it is through New World that I learned that the arts expands a person's life. And I know this from firsthand experience. When I came to New World, I didn't want to come. My mother wanted me to come because I think my mother just wanted me to have a better life, a better perspective on life. And I was very much in the mindset of my neighborhood. I wanted to be in the local band. I had auditioned, I got in, I was gonna be a dance girl in the band, and my mom wanted me to audition for this school. And I said, okay, well, I want a bunny rabbit. If I get in the school, can I have a bunny rabbit? So I got into the school, but I didn't get my bunny rabbit. But I found the passion of my life. I feel like I wish there were a lot of other people that I knew who had this experience. I have a cousin, we're the same age, and to this day, we have a strange relationship because he feels like I'm not the person that I was when he knew me when I was a little girl, because I've gone on to college and et cetera. But I try to explain to him over and over again, I don't judge your life and the choices that you make. I just took another path. But the point is that his life has been restricted to his neighborhood, to his block. And when I came to New World, the world opened up in such a huge way to me that I never would have encountered had I had the experience of coming here. One of the things that I fell in love with about New World was the experience of being able to honor my experience as a human being, to be able to articulate what I am stimulated by. It was the first time anybody had ever asked me to pay attention to my own voice and to acknowledge it, that it is important, it matters in the world, that I can do something about my life. I have control over my thoughts and what I create as a person. And more than anything, I was able to have an art to express who I am in, but it was the first time I really connected to people that I went to school with. Before, I didn't have that experience because I was sharing this experience with other people. So I fell in love with theater because of that experience. When I left New World, I went to DePaul University. And that was the first time that I realized, okay, this is a business. It's more than just your own, feelings and passion but it's a business, it's a craft that has to be respected. There's form that you have to study, you have to work hard at it. And in saying that it's a business, you also have to be conscious of the fact that because there's money involved, there's marketing. It's just a whole nother aspect of the world of theater was open to me when I then went on to undergrad. What I would most like to talk with you about today, being that you are in high school, is number one. Oh, this is college. Oh, wow, they look so young. You guys look good. Okay, you guys look good. Okay, so perfect. Okay, because I had something to say to the high school students who did not want to continue on into theater. So we don't have to talk about that. Now that you are in college, I am very happy to talk to you because the thing that I want you to, if there's nothing else that you will believe about me talking to you today, this is the one thing that I want you to believe. This time that you have to study your craft is so precious. You need to take every second and every moment that you can to learn, to learn, to learn, to learn, to learn. Every single day that you wake up, slay your ego. I have it, I still have it. We're all going to have it. And what I mean by slaying your ego is that you have to humble yourself to the work. When you come into class, your professor is going to say, not so much like that, maybe like this, try that. And what happens in the classroom, what happens in the theater when we are being directed, is that the ego shows up, and it happens with professional actors. You feel like, I just got a note about such and such, you know, he's telling me this and that. But it took me a while to learn that we all want the same thing. We all want the same thing. Your professor wants you to be the best artist that you can be. The audience wants the best experience that they can have. Your director's job is to guide you toward that. So when we approach the classroom with fear, because we don't want to fail, because we want the finished product today, we have to work very diligently to slay that aspect of fear of failure or fear of not getting it right, because it is only through the process of diligently working and diligently accepting what you don't know just yet that you are going to be the best artist that you can be. What happens a lot in the professional world, because I had this experience, that my professors were telling me things like, you know, be in the moment and, you know, work off of your partner. And then I would go see theater and I would say, I don't think they were working, you know. And the thing is, what can often happen is that when you are in the professional world, you only have 3 or 4 weeks to rehearse a play. So what you start to realize after you work for a while is that you have to do a heck of a lot of homework before you go into the rehearsal process. Because if you are going to, there are different styles of acting, but if you're going to honor sort of like the Stanislavski form of every play is different, every night is different, because you rehearse your play, but the way that you keep it alive is by staying in the moment-to-moment connection with your partners. If you are going to honor that, then that means that you need to do all the homework that you want to do concerning your role in the play before you start rehearsing, so that when you rehearse, you can come to the process with ideas. You can try something for your director, and if your director says, keep going in that direction, you can keep going in that direction. If your director says, when you auditioned, you didn't do that, I don't know what that is. So you gotta throw that away and come back again today and say, okay, how about this? So you want to have thought about it before you start rehearsing, so that when you set your play, so once you open, the play is pretty much set. And then the director goes away, and then he comes back 2 weeks, and he's like, what are you doing? Are you deepening? Don't do that. Do the play that I left, okay? So you want to do that, because what can happen is that as an actor, these are just things that I've learned from the process of being in plays. What can happen is that you can be in the last week of performance and finally feel like, oh my God, I finally get that moment. I finally get this, or I finally get that. And you realize that you wish you would have done more work, so that all of these things could have been discovered in the rehearsal process, so that you can have the most full performance whatsoever when you actually, on the day that you open, okay? So the other thing about this idea of playing in the moment, this is another thing that was very important for me to talk to you about. I just came back from Cuba on the day before yesterday, on Sunday. I came back from Cuba. And my last night there, I saw a cabaret. It was fantastic, okay? They were beautiful. Something happened within the play, within the cabaret, and I thought, this is something that I'm noticing for my particular taste bothers me. At some point, 2 of the dancers were communicating between themselves. So basically, something was happening on stage that was not a part of the cabaret. And here I am in the front row, and I can see it. Being in the professional theater, this happens. You come off stage, and you know, people are talking about, yeah, I'm gonna get so-and-so, or they, you know what I mean? They tell you about the jokes they're planning, or somebody will say to you, you know, look for what I'm gonna do in this scene. And over time, I have really developed, I don't like that. I have developed more of a respect for the person who's in the seat. And the reason why I thought about it is because at the Steppenwolf, a ticket is not very cheap. And I meet a lot of people who will say to me, you know, oh, I came to the Steppenwolf the other day, or, you know, I don't often come to the Steppenwolf, but I decided to come to this show, and now I want to come to see other shows. These interactions with the audience made me realize you have no idea what somebody's story is when they sit in the seat. You don't know if they're a poor family and it took all of the money that they had left over this week to be able to afford tickets. So if my job, after I finish rehearsing, is to show up at the theater and work a maximum of 3 hours, how sad is it that I cannot maintain focus for 3 hours of work? Most people in the United States work 8 hours a day, okay? And when you rehearse professional theaters, you work 8 hours a day. But when you perform, you're gonna work maximum 3 to 4 hours. So how sad is it if I can't keep my focus together for 2-3 hours of work to honor the person who's paid a ticket to see this show? You have to have respect for the audience. You have to humble yourself to the audience, because in my opinion, what we do, it is so beautiful when somebody comes to it with all of their heart. The other day I saw an opera, and if I'm very honest with you, I had to leave at intermission because I was not having a good time, because I felt like the show, it didn't cost the actors anything. They just showed up, and now I'm gonna go through the motions, and it's like we're not having an experience, because my presence, my heart, my mind is open to have a shared experience with the people on stage. And the people on stage are going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and nothing is open to me. So I didn't have a great time. The more I sit in the audience and I am deeply moved and deeply inspired to celebrate this life, this invitation to live more vibrantly, the more I have a respect for when I dare to step out here. Even if it's not, you know, even if it's not the best that can be done, I'm gonna try my hardest to give my best that can be done out of respect for your time. You know, 2 hours of your life, you're never gonna get back. So hopefully when you sit down in the chair, the experience that you have is gonna be worth the 2 hours of your time that you gave. So those are two important things to me that I really wanted to express to you. Respect for your audience and the work that needs to be done before you present to them, and respect for yourself in the process of learning. To just be patient with what you don't know, and trust that your willingness to be present with what you don't know is the very ingredient that you need in order to be the best artist. The best artist that you're going to be for the next moment. And then you'll outgrow that. And then you'll outgrow that if you have patience with yourself and fearlessness. At this time, I'd like to open up the floor and see if you guys have any questions for me.
Hi, my name's Catherine Clark.
Hi, Catherine.
I want to know more about Chicago. And before you got to Steppenwolf, how did you go about being a working actor in Chicago?
Okay. So I went to DePaul University. DePaul University has, at the end of your 4th year, they have, much like here, they have people, professionals in the theater community come to the school. So I had an opportunity to do a monologue for an agent that was in the Chicago community. And that agent actually took me when I graduated. And we also had a casting director from Chicago Shakespeare Theater come. The name of the class was actually Audition. So we had somebody working with us on the process of auditioning. She talked to us about headshots, and resumes. When you graduate, what you basically want to do is you want to do research about all of the casting directors in your city. You want to do research about all of the agents in your city, and you want to send them a headshot and resume with a cover letter basically introducing yourself to that particular working community, whether it be theater, film, and then hopefully from that mailing you can be invited in to meet with either the casting director or the agent. So basically that was my process. However, because I meet a lot of people who don't go to college who want to be actors, and then I say, well, you basically do the same thing, but somebody will say, well, nobody calls me. If nobody calls you, then what you want to do is you want to look out for when a theater has general auditions. A general audition is basically like an all call, whether you're a union actor or a non-union actor. They usually have 2 different times for union and non-union. And did I answer your question? Yeah. You wanted to know more about Chicago though. Okay, so yes, so basically the casting director from Chicago Shakespeare Theater also gave me my first job out of school. So I had like a non-speaking role at Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Chicago is a really, really, really wonderful city for theater. There's lots of theater. There's lots of theater companies. Patrice has told me that, you know, many of you have gone on to start your own theater companies here. That's beautiful. The thing about starting a theater company that lends itself to really benefiting you is that if there's something that you want to do and you feel like you don't have the opportunity to do it, with a theater company, you create the opportunity to do it. But with a theater company, there is longevity, and with longevity, there's a lot of responsibility. So you basically in Chicago have a wonderful opportunity to work in theater. From what I've never lived in New York. But from what I hear in New York, a lot of actors who have come to Chicago, they say that with New York, there's not a lot of sort of straight theater, like serious at a very, you know, high professional level theater. The thing about Chicago is there's so many actors there, so many brilliant actors there, that you can go to a storefront theater where they're not making any money and see great theater. And what I've heard is that with New York, it's not necessarily the same. Maybe I think because the pay is not so great, and this is, I've only heard this by word of mouth, so I don't know. But I also do know that a great deal of the opportunity that people want in New York is Broadway. And Broadway can be difficult because, now this is more of the business that I have learned as I've worked. Broadway can be difficult because it is a business and there's money involved. So sometimes people are less willing to take a chance on the actor that doesn't have a name if I can get Al Pacino to come back to the stage, do you know? So I went to New York to do a workshop, and there were all of these actors that I looked up to who were all auditioning for the same job on Broadway, and all of them lost it to a famous actor. So it's difficult. The thing about Chicago is that you can work. You can work and you can have a regular life. From what I hear, New York is very expensive, and so it's difficult to work and have a life. You might spend a lot of your time hustling. I spent a lot of my time hustling the first couple of years that I was out of school. I would wait tables. There was one time when I first graduated, I literally was working at 3 different theaters. I was doing children's theater during the day, I was rehearsing another play and performing another play at night. So but I was non-equity, okay? So I wasn't getting paid a living wage. The nice thing about Chicago, I had a conversation with my friend. He doesn't see it as a good thing though. He said the thing about Chicago is that if you work hard and you do what you're supposed to do, you can go to the top right away. And he's like, what's the fun of that? but to some degree, there is a truth in that. If you do what you're supposed to do, if you work hard, a lot of people, you know, ask me if I had a particular formula to get to where I wanted to go. And I said, in all honesty, I knew that I wanted to work, and that's all. So every opportunity that I had, I gave it my all. And I feel like more than anything, that's what people respected. They respected that I was going to give my best. And so that, I think that's what opened doors for me. I'm going to tell you that, you know, every actor is very different, very different. There are some actors that, you know, can be backstage and be like, girl, did you see what happened on CSI Miami last night? You know, da-da-da-da, and then go out on stage and do their work. I am not that actor. I am not that actor. In fact, I have been in shows with dear friends. Me and my dear friend fell out. In the show that I just, I did the monologue from, we were sharing the dressing room and we're really good friends from another play. And she's very, very chatty, but I was on stage the whole time and I only had like one scene break. And when I get off of stage, because I want to stay in the world of the play, I listen to the monitor. And you know, she would be telling me about whatever. And I was just like, okay, look, I'm very sorry, but I have to listen. I have to do this. I only have like one scene off stage. And what I've learned over time about myself is that the actual doing of other activities that are outside of the play while I'm on the clock, while the play is happening, that actually makes me nervous to not be focused. And what you start to learn about working with different people, for some people, the way that they deal with nervousness is by talking. So what you have to figure out is what your process is, and you have to honor it. You have to respect it. So if you know you have a friend that likes to talk and you like to be quiet and focus, I guarantee you they will find somebody to talk to. So, so you just have to, because there was another actor friend that we just did this play in Chicago where we were a married couple and we would be behind stage waiting to go on. And he would be asking me stuff and I would just be like, oh, you don't know how much you are freaking me out right now. But then I realized that when I wouldn't talk to him, he would be like, and so I said, oh my God, we are literally the odd couple because he needs to talk to be okay and I need to be quiet to be okay. So whatever you have to do to make sure that you're going to be able to give your best performance, do that, and people will learn that.